This is the picture of the extensions of the meninges forming this, we call it phalanx cerebri, while this one is phalanx cerebelli. Here, this one, we call it tentorium cerebelli. We left with the last region here, separates the pituitary gland, we call it diaphragma celli. Now, this phalanx cerebri is passing between two hemispheres of the brain, of the cerebrum, right and left hemisphere. This is in between. And I guess that you remember from the studying of anatomy of the skull, there is a big vein passing in the upper border of the phalanx cerebri. Its name is superior sagittal sinus. And another vein passing here in the inferior border, we call it inferior sagittal sinus. Of course, this is the tentorium cerebelli, separates the cerebrum superior and cerebellum located here inferior. This region, this opening for the passage of the brain stem passing downward. The fourth one is diaphragma celli, separates the pituitary gland inferiorly and superiorly is the cerebrum. So how many extensions we have? This is number 1, phalanx cerebri. Number 2, tentorium cerebelli. Number 3, phalanx cerebelli. And we left with number 4, diaphragma celli. In these regions, there are sinuses. We will discuss them later. Another question from the students about the meninges. If we open the skull, we are not going to see the brain directly because it is covered by meninges. Suppose this is the layer of meninges. They are not covering only the brain. They are covering also the spinal cord. From these meninges, there is extension, one of them between cerebrum and cerebellum. The other one going this way between the two hemispheres. The third one going down between two hemispheres of cerebellum. We have another one here, separates the pituitary gland. So I will draw a picture to showing you these 4 structures. Some of the students ask me about the fibers found in the brain. This is a lateral picture of the brain showing the cerebrum, cerebellum, and the brainstem and the spinal cord. I want to cut here. We call it transverse section. Show you the other picture. This is the transverse section. This is hemisphere. This is another hemisphere. They are separate, only connected in this region. We call it corpus callosum. We have 3 types of fibers. The first one, we call them commiseral fibers. They are connecting one part of hemisphere to the same part of another hemisphere. One part of hemisphere to another part of another hemisphere, but they are in the similar region, like this one. And all these fibers only passing in the region, we call it corpus callosum. These fibers, we call them commiseral fibers. The second type of fibers, we call them association fibers. Association fibers. They connect one part of hemisphere to another part of the same hemisphere. One part of hemisphere to another part of hemisphere. They are not crossing. So This is one, commiseral. The second one, they are association fibers. Now, going back to the first picture. Here we have fibers coming from the cortex down to the brainstem and the spinal cord in this way. These fibers coming from the cortex to the spinal cord, we call them projection fibers. These are the third type of fibers. This picture here, we call them corona radiata. These type of fibers. When they are collecting together here in this region, we call this bundle internal capsule.